Hey guys, Jay Hoyt here. Before this video gets started, I just wanted to say thank you guys for all the support on the channel in the last little bit here. We're getting some videos with some crazy amount of views, so I can't thank you guys enough for that. But majority of you guys are still not subscribed to the channel. So if you haven't yet, or if you're brand new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. As the first CDL major is upon us, let's give you some previews. What's on, guys? Jay Hoyt back with you. Today, welcome back to Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. We got a little 54 and 20 action from Checkmate Control in league play. But of course, as I said in the intro, we had our weeks 1 and then we had our super week of the CDL, which combined week 2 and 3. So we're 3 weeks into the league so far, which means it is time for the first major. So we've had a pretty straightforward start to the year. The good teams are showing they're good. Couple of teams are having some struggles right now, but we could definitely see them improving. But we're not going to recap the last 3 weeks because we already did that in the last video. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go do so if you don't know what's going on in this CDL. But we're going to, preview this upcoming major. We got the matchups, we got the predictions, and we're here to go through with it. So, got some interesting matchups, but we got to start, of course, with losers bracket. Round 1 is going to feature the Seattle Surge and the Florida Mutineers. Two struggling teams, both currently sitting with a record of 1 and 4. There's really not much that could really happen here. I mean, both teams have the potential to be good. Seattle was expected to be such a better team, but they just haven't really shown much anything over there in their side. Plus, Florida, again, came in this year with huge expectations, especially after last year, winning 3 events. So, could go either way, but in this case, I'm going to pick Florida to win this one 3-1. In our second matchup of the losers bracket, it's going to feature the Toronto Ultra and the London Royal Ravens. Again, if these guys are starting in the losers bracket, that must mean something is not going their way. Toronto with a record of 1 and 4, London with a record of 0 and 5. London, just 0 and 5. I mean, they're still not playing with their full roster. Zero's still in the UK. Parasite's filling in and actually looking decent, but just overall, this team has not been performing. But then the weird part is, they've taken Dallas and Seattle to a game 5, but then they're kind of getting smoked by everyone else. So, really strange that they're going to do that, but Toronto, I think, has looked like a better team so far. Although they only have 1 win, I'm definitely going to predict these guys to win this one. Toronto, 3-1, moving them on. Our third overall match, we're moving on to losers bracket round number 2. It's going to feature the Paris Legion versus the Florida Mutineers. These guys already faced off in the league, and it was actually a 3-0 from the Paris side, which was kind of surprising. Paris in general has been a huge surprise to the league so far. Early on in the preseason predictions, and even when this team came out and we did our team preview, I didn't think Paris was going to be much of anything, but they're kind of showing up. They're showing some of these teams that, they're not just a bunch of misfits, and they can actually compete, and so they have so far. So, that 3-0 before could be a similar situation. I definitely think Florida could win this one, but not going to be the case in my prediction here. I think it's not going to be a 3-0. I think maybe a 3-1 in the favor of Paris. But so far, both these teams could be really surprising. Either team could be the winner of this one, but we're going to pick Paris 3-1. Our second match of losers bracket round 2 is going to feature the Minnesota Rocker and the Toronto Ultra. This matchup should be relatively easy. Now, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but Minnesota Rocker, they've only lost to the 2 best teams in the game, or I shouldn't say in the game, in their group so far. That'd be Dallas and LA Thieves. And Toronto, you know, they've looked okay, but they haven't looked good. And Minnesota has looked good. Like I said, only losing to 2 of the best, arguably 2 of the top 4 teams in the game so far. Only because of, I think, matchups have they actually been put in the loser's bracket of head-to-head, I believe, with, I think it's LAG. But I think this one should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to predict Minnesota 3-0. But we got to catch up on the winner's bracket. Of course, some of these teams are going to have to drop down and face off against some of these teams eventually. But the first matchup of the winner's bracket, round 1, we have Optic Chicago versus the New York Subliners. And although New York has been performing pretty good and they start off 3-2, Optic 4-1, I still think Optic will come out strong and could be 3-1. Honestly, in this one, I'm going to predict 3-0. Our last matchup of winner's bracket, round 1, will feature the LA Thieves versus the LA Gorillas. So the Battle of LA in winner's bracket here. LAG, Los Angeles Gorillas, have somehow been in this spot. I think they're 2-3 overall. They're doing okay, but if Vivid isn't being the star of this team will struggle. And LA Thieves have only lost to Dallas. So LAG hasn't shown me much, right? The Gorillas just aren't that great of a team. I don't remember who they beat offhand, but obviously not a good team overall. And I think LA Thieves will come out, win this one pretty handedly. Probably, we'll go 3-0. It could be a respawn, or not a respawn, could be a search steal from the Gorillas, but my prediction, official prediction here, is LA Thieves 3-0. But we got to jump back down to the loser's bracket because, of course, there's going to be a lot more matchups down here. And, of course, some of those teams will have to drop down and face off against some of these loser's bracket teams. But in this one, we're going to be in round 3 with Paris Legion and the New York Subliners. But New York has shown they can compete with the top teams. But also, Paris took Atlanta to a Game 5, but then they got smoked by Optic in a 3-0. So, kind of weird there. New York has looked really good. My prediction, though, New York Subliners 3-1. Our second matchup of the losers bracket, round 3, is going to feature the Minnesota Rocker and the LA Gorillas. Again, kind of like the similar series last time with Minnesota. This one should be a relatively straightforward win. Could be a 3-1. My prediction, though, Minnesota winning this one 3-0. We got to jump back up, though, to the winner's bracket. We're in round 2 now, and oh boy, do we have an absolute battle of the Titans Dallas Empire versus Optic Chicago. Both teams 4-1. Dallas only losing to the Minnesota Rocker. Optic only losing to Atlanta. So 2 very solid teams. And even looking at these teams head-to-head. Looking at these guys head-to-head, Dallas is obviously 4-1. They 3-0 Seattle, lose Game 5 versus Minnesota Rocker. Then Game 5 wins versus London and New York Subliners, and then they win 3-0 over the LA Thieves. When you look at Optic, they won 3-0 versus Paris. They lose Game 5 versus Atlanta, and then 3-1 victories from then on out versus Toronto, LA Gorillas, and the Florida Mutineers. Super straight, right? They're both very good teams. Obviously, Dallas coming in as the reigning world champs. Optic already has a warm-up match, in a sense, versus the New York Subliners. But as we talked about in the last video, Dallas has looked good, but not great. They've gone to Game 5 3 times, and they're 2-1 as far as the record goes. But my prediction, if Optic comes out hot in that hard point, potentially steals the Surge, it could be 3-0, could be 3-1. My official prediction, though, Optic 3-1. Our second matchup, though, of round 2 in the winner's bracket, once again, is another battle of the Titans. Arguably, we got the 4 best teams here. We got Atlanta FaZe versus the LA Thieves. Atlanta, the only undefeated team so far in the league, 5-0 versus the LA Thieves, who have only lost to Dallas. This one should be very close. Could go either way, but Atlanta has looked really good. BZ has stepped up a ton. Obviously, Simp is considered to be the best player in the game. They have a super solid flex in Celium, and obviously Arcides is very good in his own right. And I mean, that team's just so hard to beat. When they look at LA Thieves, you got Slasher, you got Temp, you got Kenny, you got TJ Haley. You got some really solid squads facing off in this one. But Atlanta, though, has just been that best team so far. They're undefeated for a reason. I think they're going to stay undefeated, although it doesn't count towards the official league. But I think Atlanta wins this one. Probably going to go the distance, though. 3-2, Game 5. Atlanta wins this one, moving them on to the winners finals. But after we got our winners finals set, we got to catch up on the losers bracket once again. Losers bracket round number 4 is going to be the New York Subliners versus the Dallas Empire. And in this one, it should, again, be a good one. They matched up in the league before. It ended in a Game 5. Dallas ended up winning that one 3-2. Could be similar, though. But this one, I'm going to predict one less game. In the Game 4, Dallas is going to win 3-1. Our second matchup, though, of losers bracket round 4 brings us the Minnesota Rocker versus the LA Thieves. Once again, these guys have matched up in the league already. LA Thieves have won that one 3-1. This time, I'm flipping the script from the last matchup. I'm going one more game, but this time I'm picking the LA Thieves to win that Game 5, 3-2. But now that we're down to 4 teams, and arguably our best and top 4 teams in the game right now, we have the Dallas Empire and the LA Thieves in the losers bracket, Optic Chicago and Atlanta FaZe in the winners bracket. Obviously, we got to eliminate some of these teams, but unfortunately, I don't want to, because these are the 4 best teams in the game. I wish they could all win, because they all kind of deserve it at this point. But we got to start, though, of course, in that losers bracket. We got to eliminate one of these teams. But we're going to start with Dallas and the LA Thieves. This matchup was a much anticipated matchup, with the final match of Super Week being this matchup. Dallas versus LA Thieves here. And it ended in a 3-0. Which I don't think anyone was really predicting. I think a lot of people were predicting Game 4, and a lot of people were probably predicting Game 5, just given the talent and the absolute juggernauts that these two teams are. Should be a good one. Hopefully it's a little bit more competitive than last time. I'm predicting Dallas, though, to win Game 4, 3-1. Jumping up, though, we got to eliminate one more team, drop them down to the losers bracket. We got to have Optic Chicago and Atlanta FaZe. Obviously, an absolute battle here from Group B, and it's going to be a good one. At least we hope so, and this is so hard. It's so hard to predict. It's so hard to give you one winner. If Optic can come out and win a search, it should be close, right? These guys matched up in the league. It was a Game 5. Optic got blown out in both search and destroys, and they very narrowly lost the Game 4 hardpoint. So Optic easily, I don't want to say easily, but they probably should have won that Game 4, winning that one 3-1. So if Optic has made improvements in that search and destroy, which they have, right? They're 2-0 in the last 2 searches that they've played. Obviously, both teams are great. This one, though, I think Atlanta wins this one. Hopefully, Optic shows a big improvement in search, but Atlanta will win this one in the Game 5, dropping Optic to the losers bracket. Our losers bracket finals, though, only one team can go to the grand finals. Dallas Empire versus Optic Chicago. It's a rematch from the winners. I think it's the semifinals. I think is what it's officially called. But another battle that won't be an easy one. It's, again, so hard to predict this one. I'd obviously like to see Optic just smoke all these teams, but we got to be realistic here. Optic versus Dallas. I think hopefully Optic will win the search and destroy, hopefully putting them away in 4 games. If Optic goes to the game 5, who knows what could happen, right? Search has not been their best game mode so far, but they have won majority of their respawns. So I'm predicting Optic to win this one 3-1, moving them on to the grand finals. Now here's where a little bit of question marks is for our grand finals. I'm not sure if it's going to be a best of 9 or if it's going to be 2 series where Optic would have to beat Atlanta twice. But either way, we'll just go with it as if it's back to the, I'll call it the old way and not last year's champs, where it's going to be the 2 series. But obviously, these guys did face off in the winners bracket finals. I picked Atlanta to win that one initially. Optic obviously would have to go through Dallas and, you know, a bunch of other top teams to get here. And this one should be a close one. Obviously, I picked game 5 before, but I think Optic right now are in a phase where, pun intended there, are in a phase where they're really good at respawn. I think they're really confident in respawn. But once it gets to search, I think this is where they could struggle. And unfortunately, being an Optic fan, being, you know, a fan for so long of this team, it always hurts me not to pick the green wall in this one. But I think Atlanta right now is so strong and is so good at respawn and is so good at search and destroy that I think in the end, whether it goes 1 series or 2, I think Atlanta will win the first ever major and they will secure the win. And it hurts me to do it. It breaks my heart as an Optic fan. But right now, I think Atlanta is the better team, especially given search and destroy. But if Optic does come out, now I already picked Atlanta, don't get me wrong, but if Optic can win a hard point in that first search, in that first series, I think it'll be close, right? If Optic could win, you know, in 3 or 4 games in that first series, it should be a good one. But unfortunately, you know, gotta give a prediction somehow. I think Atlanta walks away with this one, so breaks my heart, but something's got to be done here. But with all that being said, guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below. Let me know of your thoughts and comments and predictions down there in that comment section. And if you haven't yet, or if you're brand new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below for more content like this, more recaps, previews, the whole 9 yards. But as always, guys, we'll see you in the next one.